Hello and welcome to another episode of Stories the True and the Fictional, but not just Stories the True and the Fictional, the Middle Ages Comic Hour. We are continuing our journey through the last Ronin series. This is issue 3, so if you're jumping on now, probably go back a couple of episodes, unless you want to jump, like you're channel surfing through the comic world and just go, oh, what's this? You're more than welcome to come along on this adventure, but you may not know what's going on, and there'll be spoilers.
Yeah.
Lots of spoilers, but before we get into it, before we start reading it, before we start telling you all about it, Ryan, how are we?
Oh, pretty good, mate. Pretty good. Going well. Very, very, very turtle-focused day, actually, today. Lots of... I don't know if you've seen the news, but they found Turtle Boy. Do you remember that meme of the video back about 16 years ago? Where that little boy... not 16,
Oh,
about
yes!
10 years ago, and a little boy goes, I love turtles. But
Yeah.
Paramount Plus found him, and he's now promoting the new Turtles movie, dressed in the same gear with the same face paint.
Wow.
That was all over Facebook today. And they've got the video, and he's like, I still love turtles. And
See, whatever happened? Like, why couldn't that have happened when I was a child? Like, you've seen the photos
oh yeah,
of me at Australia's Wonderland meeting the controversial Ninja Turtles of Ninja Turtles 3. Which to this day is probably, as a child, that was probably my favorite. But as I grew older and I went, these costumes, they're really bad. But the story, going back to, Japan, very cool concept. But yes, I was a small child and I was wearing a Ninja Turtles hat, Ninja Turtles t-shirt. I don't know what happened to that t-shirt. It's just gone. Like, I think I think I used to sit and wait for it to be washed, and then hoped it would be, you sit and watch the washing machine. You're going like, I want to wear that shirt again. And yet no people approached me and said, hey, you should come and promote Ninja Turtles.
maybe they were just a bit afraid, of
Yes.
the knowledge and of the amount of fandom. But we also got a couple of turtle related things this week. We got another trailer for the new movie, which I haven't watched yet.
I watched it.
You don't seem too impressed.
Look, I try to be optimistic, and look, there was these turtle things that popped up, and I commented on things as the Stories True and the Fictional Instagram page, which is stories_podcast. If you guys want to follow us there, and I said, look, and I'm being honest, every Ninja Turtles movie or film has its good and has its bad. Like the Michael Bay movies. Yep. Terrible design, great voice actors,
Mm-hmm.
And I have a lot of gripe with this new Turtle upcoming film, but I'm still going to watch it. I'm still going to try and be optimistic. But one of the things I first kind of don't like is the voice cast. It's lore. They're supposed to be lore. They're supposed to, like, every turtle voices, they've always been similar, always been, a certain way, and now they literally sound like children. And I don't know how I feel about that,
I guess it's like me with the Batman movie, like I wasn't thrilled with Mr. Pattinson.
Yeah.
Is it my favorite Batman film? Not by a long shot, but it was still enjoyable. It was more accurate to the detective side of things, and look, I ended up enjoying it. You never know, it might.
Yeah.
I went into the film with a lot of hesitance, and I ended up seeing it twice in the same week. So, but also, did you hear, Jamie, that Nickelodeon have acquired the rights and the films to the very first Ninja Turtles cartoon series that graced our TV back when we were younger, which just means like we may get a DVD release or a Blu-ray release or something like that, and they have the ability to do that kind of thing on a larger scale.
Well,
that was also announced this week.
As you know, I already own all that.
Yes.
Not on Blu-ray, but I've always said, look, unless a movie was made in the Blu-ray era, like when Blu-ray became a thing.
Yeah.
They don't look that good on Blu-ray. like like I've got Back to the Future on Blu-ray, and the effects they use, like it is so obvious. Like you can see the makeup and but if you watch it on DVD, it looks pretty cool.
Well, I think animations are slightly a bit different because I was thinking the same thing, and then also this is not turtle related but comic related. One of my favorite Batman animated movies, Batman, The Mask of the Phantasm, is being remastered and redone for its 30th anniversary, and is coming out in 4K later on this year in September. So I was like, oh, but I was like the same, but this movie was one of the very first Batman animated films to come out. But then I watched a video on YouTube of what actually going back to the original prints and, literally print by print, frame by frame, and just bringing it, giving it more color, giving it more sort of emphasis, just making it look that much better. So maybe that might happen with the old school Turtles cartoons that we know and love. But and then we also got some more fantastic news, which is Last Ronin is getting a sequel.
Oh yes.
They announced that. I think you said, I sent it to you, and I think you said to me, I was literally just sending this to you.
Yeah, I was about to send it.
So that's going to be.
It's going to be good, but I have, and you'll find when we finish reading this series, just 2 more episodes to go. Oh my! I wonder how they're going to do it, because look, I think the Lost Years series kind of feels like that's the sequel, even though it's more of a prequel. But look, if the same people are working on it, I can't wait, honestly.
Yeah, I believe it's the same team, the same 3.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I mean, I just can't get enough of Last Ronin at the moment. As I said, I've read the first issue many times. I've after reading the 3rd issue that we're going to talk about today, it's very hard for me to wait a fortnight to read the next one. But I've stuck to my planning and reading it before we record. But especially after today's issue that I read, I just want to finish it. But I'm not going to. I'm going to give it the same reaction as I've had, because today's issue was a very, very, very good issue.
Oh yeah, and I can't wait to dive into that. But before that, I want to. I've been meaning to ask you something, but I want to do it on the podcast in case there's anyone listening that may be interested. Look, I've never really read DC comics.
Okay.
But I love Superman. I love Batman, but primarily because Superman's so awesome. Like, if I was to jump into Superman for the first time, what series would you recommend?
Yeah, look, that's actually a really, really easy one. I would start with, I think it was started in 2011. I would start with the New 52.
New 52.
It's a modern, so it's basically it's a hard reset after Flashpoint happened, which everyone's familiar with because of the movie that's just out at the moment. Whereas the Flash went back in time to save his mother, spoiler alert, and then in doing that caused a fractured timeline. And to fix said timeline, he then worked with the Batman of that era to fix the timeline, but it wasn't quite fixed. And then that's how we got the New 52. So basically the New 52 is starting again.
No.
I would recommend, so I would start with the Action Comics series of the New 52, because that shows Superman, pretty much Superman Year One. But in the modern colors and prettiness that we're used to at the moment. So yeah, definitely both titles. So Action Comics I would read first, and then Superman, both really well done and great jumping on points, and to lead into what, that 12 years ago. So yeah, and they're all available through the DC app or through comic shops and Amazon, you name it. So that's what I'd recommend.
Awesome. But you know me, I'm a hard copy guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you can definitely get all these trade paperbacks from Amazon or from wherever you read. Because I'm actually reading the New 52 at the moment. I read it when it first came out. It's actually what got me back into comics after taking about a 5-year break. And yeah, definitely. That honestly, for any character, I would recommend jumping on the New 52 because it's pretty. It's you've got some of the best writers. I stand by Aquaman by Jeff Johns. That's when he jumped on. Is the best Aquaman I've ever read. I was lucky enough a couple of birthdays ago to get the Jeff Johns omnibus Aquaman for my
Awesome.
birthday from Steph, and that is the best Aquaman. And Chris will agree. Chris has read a lot of Aquaman as well, and that came from the New 52. So there's some really good work done in that era. So I would check that out.
I mean, that must have been a really good year for comics. I mean, 2011, yeah.
Yep.
That was when the IDW, to bring it back, TMNT series started too.
Yeah, definitely. Yep. It kind of felt like a resurgence because there was a lot of unfortunately a lot of comic book shops that I used to go to, they're closed now because a lot of people have gone digital. Which is what there's still certain books and trades I will have in hard copy, but I am a digital guy just because it's cheaper, and well, cost of living and everything, I can't afford to spend thousands of dollars. Like my pull list when I used to go to Phantom Zone, this was going back probably 15 years. Every fortnight would be about $200, and that was back then.
Yeah.
And now prices have only gone up. I'd hate to see what it is, but yeah, digital makes it. You're paying less because you're not getting the physical thing. And then if I like it, I'm just going to buy the trade anyway later on.
Yeah.
So
100%.
But yeah, I think 2011 was a good year for comics. A lot of resurgence. As I said, DC was sort of dying off. Flashpoint was a great story, but there wasn't that many stories in the 10 years, like from 2000 onwards. But the New 52 kind of breathed new life into DC and just sort of forced Marvel to lift their game. Not that they weren't great, but they were kind of. I kind of used a wrestling analogy. WWE were the only company for a very, very long time, so they were putting out a mediocre product because there was nothing else to watch. Same with Marvel. Like Marvel still had good stories, but when DC stepped up and hit that New 52 mark and people started noticing, Marvel stepped up their game. So the only, comic book fans everywhere were winners.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we're just getting better quality stories. And then you say companies like IDW, stepped up. I think the 2011 Turtles kind of brought IDW into that field of, hey, we're not a DC or Marvel, but we can produce some quality stuff.
Yeah.
Because once they did that, they started doing real good work with Transformers and with G.I. Joe. I used to love the G.I. Joe from around that era from IDW. It was really good storytelling. So yeah, you're 100% right. That 2011, I think, is kind of like the latest resurgence, and it's kind of just gone upwards from there.
100%. 100%. Well, what do you say we dive into it? Issue 3.
Yeah, definitely. I have it right in front of me.
It is called Fight or Flight. Fun fact, Ryan, do you want to know a little bit of trivia about this issue?
Sure.
During its release, so the week of its release, The Last Ronin #3 was the best-selling comic book in the United States.
Oh, wow.
Even dethroning your beloved Batman.
Oh, there you go. And I can see why. I mean, the last two issues have been great, and this one just steps it up a little bit more. But yeah, it was, as I've mentioned before, it was a must read for me. If it wasn't for the delays, I would have finished it already.
Yeah.
But that's what kind of hindered me, having to wait 3-4 months for an issue. But yeah, no, I can completely believe that it was the #1 selling issue.
Yep. Same people involved. This is what I love. It's the same 3 people. It's Kevin Eastman, Peter Laird, and Tom Waltz.
And that's the only good reason for it. That's the only good excuse for a delay. Is if it's because someone's busy or I'm happy to wait for it if the same team, rather than just have I don't think it'd be the same story if it was just a fill-in artist or fill-in writer or whatever that may be.
Yeah. All right. I am live on the podcast flicking open this comic because it is awesome and I know you're digital, but I'm hard copy to the
No, that's cool. I do have a lot of I don't get me wrong. It's really good to sit down and just like pull out a trade paperback and sit back and read. It's just for me, digital is easier because I'm an Uber driver. I can read when it's quiet and I don't have to lug around 15 hard copies.
Yeah, yeah. In a little like a case or
Yeah,
whatever,
exactly.
like the CD case equivalent. Um,
Yeah, pretty much.
yeah. But for me, look, I own 2 copies of this series,
Mhm.
and I just had a delivery yesterday, which was like the proper hard cases
Oh,
uh
nice.
for them, so they were all protected now.
Cool.
They're all, especially my first printing issue 1 signed by
Oh,
Kevin Eastman.
yeah.
And like I said, now I just need to meet him 4 more times and I'll get them all signed. um,
Uh,
all right.
no, that's gonna be a treasure to keep
Oh,
for a long time.
100%. Now I just need to meet Peter Laird.
Yeah, and then you'll be fine.
Peter Laird, if you're listening, come out of retirement, please. I'm inviting you to my house for dinner. I'll bring the pen. I mean, uh, all right. Open first page. This is cool. It is a flashback. Um, it's a flashback, but a flash forward, since it's been 10 years since Raph was killed. Spoiler alert.
Yep.
And Karai has been in a coma for 10 years.
Yeah.
This is pretty awesome. This is a 16-year-old Oroku Hiroto being sworn in as the new leader of the Foot Clan.
Correct. Yeah. In
Can you?
what looks like a very traditional
Yeah.
Japanese ceremony with like scrolls and swords and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
And could you imagine being like given leadership at 16 years old?
Oh, well, yeah, it's clearly like in reading these first couple of pages, you're like, okay, something's obviously happened to him between now and then,
Yeah.
because he's got some of the right ideas. But yeah, it's a lot to. But I suppose he was probably trained for this.
Yeah.
When you consider who his mother and his grandfather were,
Yeah.
he was probably trained for this from a very like a kind of like a Damian Wayne kind of situation. He'd
Yeah.
probably been trained from a very young age to know that this is going to be your responsibility one day.
Yeah.
So I can, but still, 16 is very, very young to be doing
Yeah.
all this.
Oh, totally. Now I got a very I know how I feel about this, but I just get your thoughts on this. Okay, look, he's like, as my first order, I want to call a parlay to our
Yeah.
enemies, which are the Turtles clan Hamato. Do you trust him straight from the get go? Do you think he genuinely wants to call a truce?
I mean, I initially obviously it's hard because if this had been in issue 1 before we met him, I would
Yeah,
say yes. But then,
yeah,
as Splinter says later on, and we'll cover it, he's like his side has seen just as much bloodshed as we have.
yeah,
Maybe this young man is ready to put everything aside and stop the violence and stop the death.
yeah.
But I mean, initially this without reading the first 2 issues, I would say maybe he wants to change.
See, you never know, but like I have this distrust of if you're a an Oroku, yeah, you're not gonna be always good, or
Yeah.
and then
But it's also,
what?
I suppose you've got to look at who raised him as well. So,
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, I can probably say, look, it's 50. If I hadn't read the first 2 issues, I'd probably say 50-50.
yeah, that's true. But then you kind of like reminded about who this kid's going to grow into in the very next page, which is my first thoughts was Grandmaster,
Yep.
from Thor
Yeah, definitely.
Ragnarok.
I can see that. Yeah.
He's addressing the city,
Mhm.
and in the style of our good friend Chris Park and his D&D campaigns. And when evil characters come out, he's like, what's he say? I've allowed you to prosper.
Yeah.
I decide your fate alone. You know, um, essentially saying to the city, bring me this turtle that's
Yeah.
you know tried to attack me.
Yeah, and then you've got that image of him plastering Mikey all over every possible screen.
Yeah,
And obviously, talking about his personal final justice,
yeah,
treasonous, unacceptable, unfathomable, unforgivable, like how
yeah,
dare you?
yeah,
So, and then obviously we see his robot human cyborg thingies.
yep,
Um, saying, look, cities are under martial law.
yep,
Just go home and wait till I
yeah.
tell you to come out again.
Sound familiar?
Yeah, very
um,
good.
and then of course we see Casey Marie's gang
Yeah.
or crew as she calls them. They're like, yeah, we better go find Casey and let her know what's going on because she's still down beneath the surface.
Yeah, definitely. She's still under there with her mum and with Mike.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, and then we cut down to a very naked Michelangelo.
yeah.
Um,
Well, look,
no,
I
no,
no bits. I know if Chris was here, he would be talking about a certain size
yes,
of
yeah,
of thing. Um, no, but look, I quite like it when they take their bandanas off, and it's
mhm.
like they don't consistently walk around with them on all the time. It feels like okay, with day's adventures are done. Now I'm going to relax, and
Yeah,
they, they look a little
no,
weird, but sometimes, but I still like it.
yeah. And then
Bring,
we've got Mikey, talking to his ghost, so to speak.
yep,
Talking about Casey's crew and saying to Mike, she can't help you, right? She's too
yeah,
young,
yeah,
she's just a kid.
yeah.
And then Mike is like,
Sound
yeah, she's
familiar?
just a child. Good call. Can't be more than
Yeah,
17 years, 16, and already tangling with the Foot Clan. Sound
yeah,
familiar?
yeah,
And then, obviously, it's a bit
yeah,
bit hypocritical, but yeah.
yeah,
But then obviously, you've got Donnie's like, yeah, but we're mutants and we've been training, we were
yeah,
training our whole lives kind of thing.
yeah. Um,
But then Mikey goes into, he's like, well, yeah, so was I, so were we, so were
yeah,
Karai,
yeah.
you
And
know.
it's cool because what I like is yeah, to us it's like he's talking with his brothers and he's working things
Yeah,
out, but it's all in his head and he's just figuring things out. I just like that um working through things in his head, and then he's interrupted by Casey as she comes in and what you
yeah,
talking to yourself?
yeah. First sign of madness. But but yeah, so basically, and I like how, she's like, okay, mum wants to see you. I'm heading topside, and he's like, I don't think that's a good idea. And she's like, I wasn't asking for permission, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, that's clearly the Casey Jones side of the personality.
yeah. Yeah, so she heads topside, tells Mikey that April wants to see him in the
Yeah.
lab. Um,
And Casey doesn't know what's going on up there yet. That's why
no,
she, you know, will come back. And yeah, clearly Mikey goes into the lab and he's quite shocked.
because it's the head of the future toid. And it's
And
funny because like I keep forgetting that in this series she's a scientist,
yeah,
which is actually a controversial opinion. That's what I prefer April as the scientist. You know, it
well,
kind
that's
of
how she started in the IDW series too. Like
yep,
she was an intern,
yep,
with the turtles. Like I remember
yep,
that much. Um, yeah, and I guess she's had a lot of time to
yeah,
by herself too. Like except
yeah,
for little Casey, but like she's had a lot of time to work things out, learn, and
yep,
and she's been living in the lair, so she's probably got access to all Donatello's
yep,
logs and book. That might be the only thing she's had to read for a very long time. So she's obviously
yep.
become even smarter than what she was before this all went down.
Yeah, and you got to remember she was an intern under Baxter
Yeah.
Stockman. So he's a crazy intelligent guy, which we'll
Oh,
find
that's
out
it.
later.
Yep.
I've always loved Baxter. I've always, again, yes, it's funny that he gets turned into a fly in the original series, but I've always preferred the original the very scientific guy who made the mouses, and evil
Yeah.
evil man who just is after power and
Oh,
control.
definitely. And
Um,
will do anything to get it.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, so Future Toyd is on the table, and April's working on him. Mikey's like, "Hey, I think we need to catch up. Like,
Yeah,
you didn't bring
exactly.
me up to speed on everything."
And then we get chucked into the past.
Chucked into the past, which I love. Noticing again the change in tone and colors. So you with like a flick of the page, this is the past. You know that we're
Yeah.
back with a more older and grizzled Baxter Stockman.
Mhm.
Because look, I love the Future Toy, to be honest. He's a cool character. But yeah, we basically got the turtles heading out for the parley, but it's only Splinter and Donnie going off to meet. Not the entire. Don't bring everyone.
Which I think they probably learned
Yeah,
since the initial attack on Splinter.
yeah,
Be like, hey, you were used to seeing turtles that just fight all together. Kind of think, well,
yeah,
They've already lost Raph,
yeah,
and they're kind of like, well, maybe we should go here and you should go here, and
yeah.
not keeping everyone together just in case.
No, it's a smart play, and it's something I heard someone say that like when families or business people travel, they never travel on the same plane,
Yeah.
because if the whole plane goes down,
Well,
then
that's
you
it. That's
then you
exactly
lose
right.
everyone. So I think
Yeah.
this is a similar thing here. They're like, okay, we're going to send these two, and if anything goes
Mhm.
wrong, at least we're not not everyone's completely being
Yeah.
wiped out.
And what I also like, it's a little bit of a, I'm seeing it. I don't know if you saw it, but the first we see of back to Stockman, where he's sitting on the chair facing the computer screens.
Yep.
What does the back of the chair look like?
Oh, like it's the
You see it?
colors of the fly.
Exactly.
That has to be a thing. That
And the
has
fact that it's the red eyes and the,
yes.
the you know what I mean? It's kind of like maybe that's a little bit of a
Oh,
throwback to
dude,
yeah,
if you notice it, and I'm totally noticing it now,
yeah,
it's definitely that's intentional.
yeah.
Um,
I like how they've done that over each issue's got this little, certain little things that are for loyal fans, you know what I mean?
yeah,
For fans that are just like, and I just thought that was, I just looked literally, I missed it the first time,
yeah.
and it was just when I had the page open, I'm like, hold on. If
Well,
you think about it, yeah. So
no, well, I missed it the first two times, so
yeah.
maybe you're the true turtle fan. Uh, yeah, so
Well,
basically,
mate,
this,
I'm not as engrossed in turtle history as you are, but
yeah,
I can see little things.
yeah, yeah. So basically, this scene, the Future Toy is helping Donnie and Splinter take off. And looks like they're pretty cloaked. I think they say something about you got to be careful how far you go, because they're heading off to Japan, like literally.
Yeah,
And you know, uh, probably get shot down if you know if they um, just take a commercial flight or something,
yeah.
uh, that sort of thing. But interesting. Stockman is watching closely, and basically, as soon as Splinter and Donnie leave, attack.
Yeah.
And it is hardcore. He's got his strike team now. This is something I noticed straight away. The dude leading the strike force,
Yeah.
taking the orders from Baxter, he is a purple dragon.
Okay.
He's got the purple tattoo on his arm. Instantly,
So who were the purple dragons again?
they're a gang.
Okay.
So it was basically, from memory, in the very, very, very first issue, the Mirage original comics, that's
Hmm.
who the Turtles are fighting before
Okay.
Shredder. Yeah, so they're just a gang.
Okay.
In the 2003 series, Shredder controls them. So
Okay.
you got the Foot Clan, and then the Purple Dragons work with the Foot Clan.
Okay.
At some point, I think. Um, just a cool throwback there. Always liked the Purple Dragons. In the IDW series, Casey's dad was head of the Purple Dragons.
Okay.
So they're very prominent. Low level thugs to
Yeah.
begin with. But yeah, so it's clear that Baxter is very intent on getting the future toy and his tech. For those playing at home, and maybe you, Ryan, there is a conscience in there called Professor Honeycott. So this,
Yep.
so it's like that movie Chippy. You know Chippy?
Yep. Yep.
Remember that movie Chippy with Hugh Jackman as the bad guy?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, and the scientist gets his conscience downloaded into a robot. So it's essentially the same idea there. But yes, they're fully surrounded. Leo and Casey are basically protecting them. And what's the line? Oh, that's right. So at this point, April and Casey are married.
Yes.
And he's like, hang on, where are we? I hear you, Mike, but first things first, bro. We get my wife and Honeycott to safety.
Yeah.
It's pretty brutal, all this scene. Like, so Leo and Casey hold him back. Mikey, April, and the future Toyd, aka Professor Honeycott, they're getting out of there, or into a vault, from what I can see.
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah.
And then in come the mouses, because you can't have Baxter Stockman without mouses.
Oh, of course you can't.
Yeah.
But then you've got these super droids, or whatever you want to call them.
Okay, so the robots, which is again a throwback to the 80s cartoon, which I love. I love that they're robots, and I think there could be a level where you could just make these awesome, sophisticated AI robots.
Yeah.
I would love, if I was going to do a Turtle series or a Turtle movie, I would have the foot as robots.
Yeah.
But they would be like full synthetic, you know, and because it's a way of keeping it still kind of PG-13.
Well, that's it. Yeah.
With being able to do all these death moves, kind of like
in
Transformers. How if Transformers was released on Cybertron, it would be an R-rated film.
Definitely.
like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That sort of thing. Some great artwork, Casey, Kraken. See, that's a death move right there. I don't know if you see that page. He's basically like smashed his robot's head off.
Oh yeah. Once you figure out, let's use sledgehammer.
Yeah.
Instead of hockey sticks.
Yeah, it's awesome. Okay, so they're doing some damage, but then in come the mouses, and it's a lot of mouses.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like the art is like, let's draw as many circles as we possibly can on this page.
Oh, definitely.
And so they're fully surrounded. They're doing their best to hold them back. But Professor Honeycott, he's in defiance, says, "I know it's me you've come for, Stockman. I'll self-destruct before I let you hurt my friends or imprison me again." And Baxter Stockman, I guess he takes his word for it, right? Because boom. Boom. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm sad to say that is not only how April loses her limbs, but that is how Leonardo and Casey die together, side by side.
Yeah.
Thoughts on that death, Ryan? Do you think that's a good way to go, or?
Look, I think it's. I can speak for at least Casey. I think that's how he'd want to go.
Yeah.
Whether or not he wanted to go right now, but at the end of the day, he, he made sure. Well, in his opinion, he made sure his wife and Professor Honeycott was safe.
Yeah.
And they just fall to the wall. Let's fight to the death. And I think, I think after losing Ralph, Leo got a bit harder. And I think that's why he did what he did as well.
Yeah. He became even more protective of everyone.
Yeah, definitely. And that was kind of spoiled by the issue that I got. I don't know what the cover is on the one that you've got, but that image that you're looking at of the hockey
Yeah,
mask on the sword was actually the front cover of the issue that
yeah,
I got.
yeah,
So like I was kind of expecting it, but
yeah.
doesn't
Well,
mean it doesn't hit hard.
they don't shy away. Um,
No.
and that is epic artwork, you know.
Oh,
But
definitely.
at the same time, is it really a spoiler when you know that all the turtles have died except one?
Well, that's right. Yeah, and
No.
you already know that Casey's got long gone as well.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. All right, now we flash forward again with Casey Marie going top bound, figuring out what's going on, meeting up with the gang, and they're like, yeah, martial law. And they haven't met very um long until they get, hey, you,
yeah,
halt, stop and be identified. Then, of course, they choose to split up. We'll meet like most people do when they're getting chased. This is where we'll
yep,
meet. Let's
yep.
split up. We're going to use our old school old
Yeah.
school communications, that sort of thing. But look, what do you think about finally seeing Casey Marie in action?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, she sees this lady getting attacked by the robots, and
Yep,
of course, does what's in her blood, and she said, she said in the last issue, she's been training for a very long time too.
yep,
Um, but yeah, I think it's what's in her blood. She's very heroic, defending people that can't defend themselves,
yep,
and she can hold her own against these robots as well.
yep, yep. So she saves this lady. She says, "Get out of here. I'll take care of these two." She does her
Yeah,
awesome kung fu-ness. And then we're back to the leg, getting a blood test from April's getting a blood test from Mikey to check out how his mutation, how his mutation is going, sort of thing.
yeah.
Um, again, letting you know that April knows science, and she is wearing a yellow jacket, not a white one. Come
Yeah.
on, guys, come on. There's a uniform for being a scientist. It is a white trench coat.
But yeah, then they're sort of starting to talk about Future Droid again, wondering if Professor Honeycott's still in there, and obviously April hasn't really done much with it, so she's hoping that this could be their ticket to when they have to do an assault on back to Stockman. So
Yeah,
then it's then Mikey gets all nostalgic, and they start talking about what happened after the explosion on April's side, and then we get
yeah,
the return to the original old school art.
yeah, which is cool. Like I love the throwback. Like I mean, this series is seriously meant for all kinds of turtle fans.
Oh, definitely.
And it's especially, I honestly sometimes think it's aimed at people who grew up with it, because I get chills just looking at this old school style on modern pages.
Oh, definitely. And it goes through, so we basically go through April's journey,
Yep.
from she says, she'd lost her husband, her friends, her home, her arm, her leg. Oh, and
Yeah.
I was pregnant.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so she
Yeah.
had to go through all of this, rehab and mental and physical therapy while
Yeah.
being pregnant. And,
Yeah.
I like where she says, when I finally got discharged from hospital, I had a shiny new arm and leg and a shiny new baby to go along with it.
Yeah. Um, yeah, but
Yeah.
she also mentions that she while she was getting better and healing, she literally watched in slow motion the cities getting taken over by the Foot
Yeah,
Clan.
exactly.
Because what its protectors are gone.
Yeah.
The only ones fighting against the Foot, and now it's like free reign. Slowly turning into
There's no one to stop them.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, and so basically, when she got discharged, the only place she knew where to go was back to the Turtle Lake.
back to the lair.
Back
And
to the
obviously that's where
yeah.
Casey's grown up and um it's where she can feel comfortable and sort of
Hmm.
have a few reminiscence of her, her past life and her friends and
Yep.
the people that she spent a lot of time with and yeah.
Yeah, and we find out that the survivors of the explosion, Casey's strike team, were the ones that retrieved Future Toyd's head.
Yeah.
I'm probably like, that looks important. Better hang on to that. And now we flash back to Mikey's what happened to Mikey at the explosion, his side.
Yeah.
Where we basically find out that he was thrown clear of the explosion, and he assumed that everyone was dead.
Yeah.
He returned to the lair, tried to contact Splinter and Donnie, but couldn't. And then it seems that he jumped a plane to Japan to see, where they went, see if he could, find them.
Yeah. So they could have, well, obviously they didn't miss each other because April had a long road of recovery, but it's
Yeah,
funny, they both went back to the lair. They both,
yeah,
went back to what's familiar, which is what you do when something like this happens.
yeah,
And, like they're both, April says, we're both really suffering from survivor's guilt. Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
we got out of it and no one else did. And then she's saying, oh, I think I know how to beat Hiroto.
yeah, yeah. Oh, by the way, and then
Yeah,
the classic trope, the common thing
yeah,
that always happens, like, hey, I think I know how to beat Hiroto, talking to Mikey, and then in comes Casey and her crew.
yeah. Who seems to have Cyclops in it,
Yeah.
from the X-Men. That's crazy.
Oh, yeah, I just noticed that. Yeah, there's a dude wearing blue and yellow glasses. Um, and then if we're hanging on there, then the dude on the right looks a little bit like, is that a Gambit coat there on the right?
Possibly, yeah, possibly.
Mr. T,
Yep.
uh, the Mandarin. Um,
And I'll tell you what, you know what I think this comic's missing, Jamie?
what?
Villains on rooftops giving evil montages. We haven't got any of them. I haven't said, oh, turn the next page. There's a villain on
Oh,
the rooftop giving a montage.
yeah. Yeah. And what a montage! Like, this is a dive
A
into the
monologue, I should say.
monologue.
Monologue, yes.
Yeah, well, it is a montage of a monologue.
Yeah,
He's insane. That's all I'm going to say after
yeah,
that. He's literally insane.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, definitely.
yeah, I
Goes
mean,
on a big.
look at them down there, tiny little insects. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm a god incarnate, God made flesh.
Yeah,
I am their master. And then I'm
yeah,
alone.
yeah.
And then he's like, Mommy left me,
And
you know?
yeah, but then he's like, yeah, mother left me in charge of an empire.
Hmm.
Um, you know, and then he's basically going, I'm going to be better than them. I am better than them. And the insanity is just beautiful. Like, honestly, I love villains like this.
Yeah. Because there's no redemption.
Oh gosh, no.
Yeah. You know
Like,
that there's only one way for this to end.
yeah. Uh, just to reiterate that this guy's insane and he's indeed the villain. And then we cut back to the lair and its plan. It's all about the plan. So basically, they're worried about turning the Future Toy back on because they'll be able to track him.
Yep.
It's like basically going, here I am, here I
Yeah.
am.
Exactly.
But yet that's what April wants to do. She wants to turn it back on so she can use the Future Toy as a trap,
Correct.
but also take out. I think she wants to take out Stockman before they go for Hiroto.
Yes, correct. And I think that's a smart move.
Yep.
There's no point in just going and doing essentially what Raph did, going to the final
Yeah.
boss when you're only halfway through the game.
Yeah.
Like you need to chip away, because the less people that he's got to call on when something goes wrong, the better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And obviously, the foot soldiers that you're seeing in the city at the moment, they're the same. They're just like an upgraded version to what Baxter Stockman used 10 years ago. So clearly, he's behind that. So you take out Stockman, you possibly take out the foot droids, as I like
Yeah.
to call them.
Yeah.
and then that makes it getting into the king's castle, so to speak, a
Yeah.
little bit easier.
But then, of course, there's tensions between Casey and April and
Yeah.
Mikey. Man,
Yep.
Mikey is very naked in this picture.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Like, put a belt on at least, Mikey. um, I'm sorry, that's just a very sexy walk there.
Oh no, most definitely.
Oh my. Um, and then of course, every comic ends with leaving you wanting more.
Yep.
We get the first look at what April has been working on. Um, Basically says, I think Donnie would approve, and it is a badass. I'm going to guess it's called the Turtle Tank.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's got 10 years worth of pain and anguish and
It,
revenge
yeah, it,
paid
it
into it.
it honestly looks like the Christopher Nolan
Yeah,
Christian Bale Batman.
you're gonna redo the turtle truck.
Yeah,
You're gonna do the Nolanize the turtle truck.
yeah.
That's what you're gonna get.
Again, yeah. Have you seen the poster going around? It's like a fan poster of uh The Last Ronin, but a movie, and it's got Christopher Nolan's name on it.
Yeah, look,
But
if anyone's gonna do it,
I would want Nolan doing a Last Ronin movie, honestly.
yeah,
But look, I don't know if I want. Look, I know they're doing the video game. There's talks of them doing the video game, but I'd want that. I don't know if I'd want an animated film. I'd be happy with an animated film,
yeah.
but live action would be pretty badass. Um, just because there's ways you could do it, you know. Oh, I can see it now. Like, if you were to bring back Turtles to its highest peak, do a
But I don't
Last
think they do.
Ronin.
I don't think they do it because it'd kind of be like a Logan because
Yeah,
and Turtles essentially have been sort of the younger
yeah,
audience target.
yeah,
And honestly, I think that that's how the studio execs are going to see it.
yeah. Money,
They're going to
you
say,
know.
look, if it's going to be like MA or R rated, like Logan was,
Yeah.
um, you know what I mean? It might not make as much money as they would like it to.
No, I'm going to look up how much I'd need to buy the Turtles franchise. How much? No, hang on. I'll go net worth. TMNT net worth. Googling live on the podcast. Ah, only 60 million.
That's not too bad considering.
Um. hmm. Oh no, wait. That's a 2009 article. Sorry.
Okay.
So that's how it was. Okay. No, let's say.
So
Okay. How much did Nickelodeon find out? Nickelodeon pay for TMNT. Yeah, no, Nickelodeon bought it for 60 million back in 2009.
okay.
I'm just saying the lotto this week or next week is 100 million. Do you think I could just win lotto and then buy the Turtle franchise back
Why not?
for 80 million, you know?
Why not?
And then with my last 20 million make a decent movie.
Yeah, see that's it. Not only they've got to make it. So you want at least 200 million.
Okay. Okay. Um
But going back to the issue, the cover like the next time on The Last Ronin
yeah.
is foreboding. We've got a Donatello's bow staff
Yeah.
sort of thrust into along with a lot of blood and what appears to be Splinter's diaries.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah, obviously we're getting to the
yeah.
end game.
Yeah.
So
Well, I think the next issue will be Donnie's death,
yeah,
and then the last issue will be the death of Hirotu, or Mikey.
Mhm. I
If you've
don't know because I haven't
yeah,
read that
you don't know.
far.
And yeah, no spoilers. No spoilers for Ryan. Okay.
No, no spoilers.
So that leaves us with only two episodes left of our last Ronin read through. We are not going to do the Lost Years. We're going to pick another comic. I think Ryan's got a few ideas.
Yeah, I've got a few ideas that we could do.
So hit me up when we're off the air, Ryan, and in case I have to, because I want a hard copy.
Yeah.
I want to read hard copy. Like, and Ryan's like, today we're going to have a super rare reading of some comic
I
book.
wouldn't do that.
No, that's unless you could, give me access to it.
Well, that's it. See, if I pick something on my shelf, I can just give you that to read.
Yeah, true. But you know me, I want a hard copy.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for listening, guys. I've noticed our downloads going up, so obviously you're enjoying this. If you want to send us an email, maybe you've got an idea of a comic book you would like us to review, send it to thetrueandthefictional@gmail.com or stories_podcast on Instagram. That's where we're mostly active. Obviously, check out our other show, which is just called Stories, the True and the Fictional, or the story chat episodes. We've got a few of them coming up. Going to be recording one before this episode drops. We'll have recorded it. But if you're listening to it now, we've already recorded it, and
Yes.
it should be out
amazing
soon. Oh, so these guys were great. They're actually friends of someone we interviewed, or I interviewed when Ryan was in hospital. His name's Justin T. Hunt. Go check out that interview. It was very funny. He's a talker, and he loved the icebreaker questions, and there's a lot of laughter in that. But these guys are coming on. They've created a kind of a, from what I want them to talk about it because I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. It's marketing thing for authors, and it's almost like a scavenger hunt sort of thing. It's going to be very interesting.
Okay.
And I'm looking forward to that episode dropping soon. But I think that's all the news we've got for now. So,
there was one more bit of turtle-related news I found while we were talking.
Okay, cool. What?
Vanilla Ice's Ninja Turtle song is going to be in the new movie.
Whose song?
Vanilla Ice.
Oh, Go Ninja, Go Ninja, Go Ninja, Go.
Currently being revived for the Mutant Mayhem movie.
Okay, interesting. Will Vanilla
I just
Ice
saw it on Facebook.
Will Vanilla Ice be in it though?
I don't know. That wasn't made clear in the article.
But at least Ninja Rap is being reborn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fun fact: originally the Turtles were going to be into punk rock.
Okay. I can get behind that.
But that's why in the 2007 movie, which is when Kevin Eastman was on hiatus, and Peter Laird was in control, there's a few punk songs playing in it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, because you know me, I love punk. You know.
I'm going to have to rewatch that and listen out for it. It's been a couple of years since I've watched it, so I'm due for a rewatch.
Oh, dude, it's so good.
Yeah.
And it sucks that it didn't make as much money because they were going to do a sequel, and that sequel is going to be City at War, which is one of my favorite arcs.
That definitely would have been good.
Sad facts. But anyway, guys, like I said, thanks for listening. Cowabunga, and we'll catch you next time.
See you next time.